spread the gospel to American servicemen. The Reverend Rickey Moore, who is a Shreveport native, now pastors a church in Gladewater, Texas. But he'll spend the next week in Germany at Air Force bases in Frankfurt and Mannheim. He's making the all-expenses-paid trip at the invitation of an Air Force chaplain from Virginia.
I'm trying to be a modified young black man and let them see that you can go places, not by knowing drugs and living for the devil, try to live for Christ.
Moore was invited to the week-long all-expenses-paid trip by an Air Force chaplain from Virginia. Now, while Reverend Moore prepares to minister to the soul, another program's aim is to heal the body.
Come with me. The first book, fourth division of the New Testament. That book will be the book of Isaiah. Another way of saying, what shall I preach? And I want to entitle this sermon, In Germany, What Shall I Preach? Isaiah, the book is divided into three parts. The first part is condemnation, found in verses 1 through 21. The second part is confiscation, found in verses 22 through 39. The third part is consolation, found in verses 40 through 66. The first verse of chapter 40, the word says, comfort ye. Comfort ye, my people. Speak ye comfortable words. Speak words of comfort, says your God. The world needed then to hear a word of comfort. And the world now needs to hear a word of comfort. What a world we live in. A world at its worst. Men, women are wicked. Children are contrary. Days are dark. Nights are noisy. Churches are cold. Some deacons are dirty. Some secretaries are sleepy. Some choir folk are cursing. Some trustees are thrifty. Some preachers act like men. The world needs to hear a word of comfort.
cry.